So basically, this conversation is just a good conversation for fathers that are actively trying to participate in the lives of their children, but it's difficult because the women that you had these kids with have made it difficult. So that's basically why I wanted to do this conversation, because you always hear about the deadbeat fathers that aren't there participating in their lives.
They just give up when they wasn't ready, to have a kid or to be in a relationship with the female.
I mean, I think more so you have men out here that's really trying, and the other people that participate, other men, and they hear from different women that this is how men is. They expect for you to be one way, and they don't really give you that opportunity. They just kind of make their mind up before even seeing how you are as a man.
What do you mean they expect to see you one way?
They expect to see that person that's going to run off. Even if you're not in a relationship anymore, they kind of steer you to be that person that's going to run off from their child because of you not being there for them. I don't know how else to put that, but it's just more so they believe in that stereotype as a man not being there after not being with that woman.
This is very personal work for me.
Politics.
I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked.
Religion.
This is my life's work.
Religion.
I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage.
Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Today we're talking to two fathers, two dads. One who is the primary provider. He is the sole caretaker of his son. How old is your son?
16.
And the other is sharing custody with his child's mother. How old is your daughter?
1.
And she's 1. What would you say some of the challenges are being a single father and having to interact with a woman that you're no longer with? What are the first things that come to mind?
Well, I know mine's more fresh. So I think some of the challenges for me is having to find that median because you're dealing with your child. So it's harder to try to talk to a person about the well-being or something when other feelings involved with that woman. Meaning though, all right, when it's time for me to figure out daycare or something, I want to be there rather than hearing, oh, well, you need to be there on this day and this day. I don't want that dictation because that's how our relationship goes. It's more so let's try to meet in the middle. Or I don't want to be the one that says, let's just do this, let's do that. Let's kind of meet on a common ground. I think the hardest part is just trying to meet on a common ground when the relationship didn't already work.
Well, before I got custody of my son, just like trying to see him on a regular basis, I'm calling his mother and she just not answering the phone. I remember a time it has been like 3 months when I hadn't seen my son. Mm-hmm. When I finally seen him, I didn't want him to go back with her, so.
And so she was not answering the phone, do you think, to spite you?
Yes.
Okay. And so would you both say that there have been instances where the mother used the children as a pawn?
Yep.
Because perhaps, was it something that because they wanted to be back with you, or was it because you had moved on with another woman? Like, what do you think the root cause was? Causes?
Just a little bit of both. Probably to try to hurt me because she wanted to get back with me, and, just a little bit of both.
So how long were you together, respectively? How long were you with her before you broke up?
4 years.
And how long were you together?
Like a year and a half.
Okay. And so did you break up before the baby was born?
No, not necessarily.
No.
So you were still together?
Yeah.
And so when did the dynamic change? So it changed once the baby arrived.
And I started to make plans for the future, but she seemed as though that those future plans was too fast. But I'm like, we about to have a child, so these are the steps that we have to make. And we just didn't see eye to eye on that.
So would you say you initiated the breakup, or did she initiate the breakup?
I think it was mutual. It was just through me trying to progress and trying to see the best for my child and her trying to focus on herself while having that child, and the child is already born, instead of just taking that time to try to like reevaluate herself and try to dictate it to that child, because I was the person that was taking care of like all the means and everything, and not saying that that's everything, but trying to move us forward. I was staying with my mom at the time, so I felt like me going forward would have to have a plan, and we have to get somewhere stable in order for you to finish out the goals you want, because I'm ahead of you financially, career-wise. So I never put that on you, but it's just me going through these things. I just wanted that support on top of, you know, you being able to take care of the child.
So you've since bought a home. You've purchased a home.
Yes.
And what's your profession? What do you do?
I'm a counselor. I counsel kids, 6th grade, and now 7th graders actually.
Okay, and so is she working? Is she currently working?
Yes, she's working.
Okay, but you guys share the responsibility. So what are your visitation rights? Is it like every other weekend or?
So far we've been doing, I fought for trying to see my child more than 3 days at a time. She was saying things like, this is my child, I can't have you with my child more than these days, and those key words kind of make it to assumption that you kind of feel like you're the primary provider. In reality, she has a whole home here, and I want to see my child more because I work, you know, a certain amount of hours during the school year, because I work for, you know, a long-term school where they stay at the school. And
They stay overnight at the school.
Exactly. So my hours didn't fit the schedule of me being there overnight. That's why she was staying with her in the first place.
Right.
And I just wanted the summertime to see her. I said, you know, hey, it's okay for me to keep her a couple nights a week. And I tried to, you know, just get agreements, because I thought that, you know, I deserved that much. And I wasn't working as late. I was just working the 8 to 4 day, or 8 to 2 actually. It was a summer camp. And I felt as though that those nights I just wanted to spend. I wanted to see my child sleep, and it was just me and her, and well, her and I. And I just felt as though I deserved that time.
So with you, when you gained custody, what was that struggle like before that though? So you said that there were periods where you would try to call or text her and she wouldn't respond.
Yeah.
There was a 3-month period where you didn't see your son.
Yeah.
So what changed? Like, did you have to go through the court system, or did her financial situation change where it was necessary for you to take him? Like, what actually happened?
How I got him was, he was staying with me, like, for the summer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes time to go back to school. So you had to do the shared domicile when your kid lived with 2 different parents or whatever. So I called to re-enroll him in the school or whatever, and they said, Mr. Thomas, your son has been transferred to another school. And I'm like, what? I'm like, hold up. So I called his mother. She's like, yeah, he going to school down here with me.
But you live in the same city.
Yeah. I'm like, so how you going to do that? So she started arguing, fussing, cussing, so I didn't even want to hear it, so I hang the phone up.
Uh-huh.
So I get in contact with a lawyer, a custody lawyer. So go to court. I got like people come testify. Witnesses to come with me, like 10 witnesses to the court. She has nobody come with her. She's married now at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Husband didn't come, mother didn't come, nobody came with her, nobody at all. So what really got me cussing my son was the judge asked me, so why did you transfer him to another school? Because I want him to live with me. But mind you, he's in a good neighborhood, good household, and going to a good school. So it really gave me custody of him, because the judge didn't like it. She just uprooted him from a good atmosphere to take him in a really bad atmosphere where she was living at.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main reason I got custody of him.
So do either of these women have other children, or these are their only kids?
No, this is she only has one.
I know that this is
Yes.
your only kid, but do they
But
have
she
other
only has
kids
one.
with someone else?
Yeah, this is my only son, but she has a little girl of her own, and she has an adopted little girl.
Uh-huh.
So she has 2 other, kids that she's taking care of with.
And so how long have you had custody of your son?
I had custody of him ever since he was probably like 8 or 9.
And how old is he now?
He's 16.
16. Okay, so were you paying child support at that time? Are you paying child support now?
No.
So there's no order in place right now?
No.
So is there an order in place where you're going to court to try to figure out like how many days you're going to be able to spend with your daughter? So
No.
right now you're just trying to manage it with her?
Yeah, I'm trying to manage it with her, because I just feel like she's using her emotions to try to dictate a situation where I just want the most benefit for my child. And I feel as though a lot of people go through that, And I understand, yes, sometimes the courts do work against you, but I just really don't want that for my daughter. I just feel as though
You don't want what for her?
like I don't want the courts involved. I don't
have
want
to
to
fight.
have to always go run to them. I just want to mediate because at the end of the day, I still have to spend this time with her as a mother because I can't go for 4 because she's not a bad mother. It's just me being a father is hard. So
Right.
it makes it more.
So have you ever
Yeah.
had a conversation with her to say, like, why are you making this so difficult for me to participate in her life? Because there are so many fathers that want to participate in the lives of their children, but the women have made it so difficult. But then conversely, there are men who are completely vacant. They're not even present. And there are women who would love to have men like you that are participating in their lives, that are helping. So have you had that conversation with her?
And that's my biggest thing. That's the hardest conversation to have because it's always, it's not that I don't want you to be a father. It's just, I don't know. It's too emotional. So when I try to be logical, I really don't think that her emotions is fully gone yet. Like I told you, my
In
daughter's
terms of the
one.
relationship.
As far as the relationship, I think my dealing with my child is relational. It's not about, oh, is he a good father? Is he
Right.
not? It's about, well, how does he treat her? And my daughter has everything. I spoil her. I haven't bought myself anything. Everything
Right.
goes to her.
How long have you been apart? Like the relationship, how long ago did that end?
Since my daughter was turning 1. Yeah. When she turned 1, her birthday party wasn't together. So
And
probably
then
even
she's
probably
1
even
now?
before that, I was working towards the house, and maybe like last August or so. Last August, I started seeing homes, and what really dictated me to decide, okay,
To buy
I
the
can't.
house?
Not necessarily to buy the house for her. Everything's for her. I can't move backwards. I used to talk to my sisters and talk to everybody like, this is a future move. It's not
Right.
about relationships. It's about your daughter. You have a child, so you need to think about her. Make investments, like try to own. And seeing her, I'm going to go see houses. You know, she wasn't financially stable at the time.
The mother.
The mother.
Uh-huh.
And when we going through these different stages, she kind of like looking at the houses like, oh, I like it. And it's just like, dang, you know, I'm working hard, I'm building my credit. You know, I just kind of want that support, so I didn't see that in her. So I'm like, well, what is she doing? And then mind you, I'm in the back and, you know, still coming home, taking care of my daughter because I'm with her all day. These are the excuses that I'm hearing, but I'm like, you know, I'm out here, I got to work, and I got to come home, and I can't sleep because my daughter crying. Not an excuse to say, you know, you need to take care of this, but it's just, I'm doing double.
She wasn't a partner.
A partner,
She
and
wasn't
this
a
is
partner.
what I'm looking for now, and that's why, you know, I stay alone.
Right.
You know,
So were you paying child support before you gained custody of your son?
No, I wasn't paying child support.
So it sounds like you both had enough of a relationship with these women where you could at least come to some sort of agreement where you were both able to provide for the kids?
no. I'll say no.
What do you mean? Because, I mean, she hasn't taken you to child support.
I say no because she leaned on, like, my family, they're a big support for me. You know, I always push and I always do well. And as far as, you know, he spoke about the witnesses that he had in court earlier. If I had a courtroom, it'd probably be filled like it was like a party or a club or something because this is what I do. Like, this is my craft. I don't believe in nothing else except being a father. And I believe that at this time and moment, she can't do child support because that's not me. And she knows that she wouldn't even see as much of the things that I do if it wasn't for child support. It doesn't make sense. Child support doesn't make sense to me, so it's hard to dictate into words or try to find that vernacular. But I'm trying to say it's hard for her to do child support when you're getting everything handed to you.
Right.
My family looks out for her. If you call my sisters, if you can't reach me, there have been times where we can't even speak without arguing because there's all the emotions built up. I tell her, call my sisters, call my mother, all on my side. I don't speak to her side at all. So my support is here, but you put me through hell.
So since yours is so fresh, the baby is only 1, and have you considered perhaps the two of you going to counseling? Not to get back together, but to go to counseling so that you can figure out how to parent together.
My sisters brought it up, but it's hard because it's easy to mediate a situation with someone and you know them, right? Meaning that if I even had my sisters to come and try to cancel a situation.
But see, that's kind of, from her perspective, it's going to look slanted. It's going to look biased. But if you get somebody who's completely
that don't know y'all.
Right.
It doesn't matter who she is or who he is. I've been in situations where we had teachers involved or like her little social workers, they medians, they might be slanted on my way, but the facts are still the facts. And her saying what she might say to someone else is not what she's going to say to me in the back end. And that's the hardest part. And I done tried it. You know, I done tried to mediate her way and my way. And that's
So
something
let me ask
that...
this. So have you, considering the reality now, like the challenges and the difficulties that you face, trying to co-parent,
Yeah.
did you foresee any of this when you were in the relationship? If you could go back to the relationship, could you imagine that this is what the reality would have been? Were there signs?
Yeah.
What were those signs?
Just when I come home from work, no excitement of me being home. It's just more so me coming home and tired. Still got the scarf on your head. You know, at the end of the day, some days, you know, just your hair out. I don't want anything. Just want to go to sleep, but just want you to be up, you know, the time I get off. So, I mean, I seen the signs of you being bored, like being tired. Oh, me just always working. I'm picking up doubles and working 16 hours. Someday I'm trying to get a house. It just was this time, but before I was doing all this trying to figure out our financial situation, trying to build that stability, nothing was there. So this is the sacrifice you have to make too, and there wasn't no support. No support. So I seen it, but I didn't pay attention.
Were there things that you saw? Things that you noticed?
I say little things. Like, you know, me myself, I probably rushed into, you know, having, you know, a child with his mother. With
You
my
said you
son's mother.
rushed into it.
I rushed into it, you know.
Because how long after you were together did he come along?
Not that long.
We
Very
talking
short.
months.
I'm talking about
Not that long.
2 months.
You, really? He was 2 months into it? Really?
Probably like a year.
Okay, so he really rushed it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
So the gays ain't the only one that move fast.
Not necessarily.
And like after my son was born, I seen, you know, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm a barber, and then I started doing another working with building marble and granite kitchen countertops and bathrooms and stuff. So I'm giving her money to pay the gas and electric, thinking she paying the gas and electric, but kind of find out she not paying the gas and electric. So the bill like
It's steadily mounting.
steady getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
So I'm just like, hold up.
So for all of the women that are listening that think that there aren't any good guys and they always trashing guys and saying, well, you know, these guys are sorry, what do you say to them about the kinds of women that you've experienced?
Well, all women are different. You know, you got some that are just want you for your money or just, you know, trying to use you for whatever they can get out of you. And some women, you know, really genuine. They like really love you, really care about you, want to be able to help build with you. Like the woman I'm with now, she, you know, I love her, she loves me. We won't build together. But some females are not like that, and some guys are not like that. Some guys just want to, you know, hit it and quit it, and just keep it moving.
So is it about partnership? How do you think your relationship with these women has changed you? Not you, because you're in a relationship, but you're single, right?
Yeah, I'm
How
just
has
saying,
it changed you?
I can't do it. Like,
You can't do what? What
I
does that mean?
can't, like a relationship to me, you gotta be a partner first, and maybe we build a relationship because, like,
So you're not dating now?
not necessarily.
You fucking though.
Yeah, I definitely fucking a lot, but that shit, pardon me, it's just, I mean, it's just a hold on you like, I mean, you need companionship. I can't, a partnership and a relationship, me being me and taking that sacrifice, I got a house. Like, if you know me, you kind of know, like, I always move forward. That was probably built in a plan with me just because of the way my sisters are with me. And,
Because you're one boy and 3 sisters.
yeah, now it's 1 man and 3 women. So, me, I already kind of knew about the emotions. I already kind of knew about how to dictate your situation through logic after all the emotions is gone. So it's harder for me to say for the women out there that, you know, it's not women that's good or it's not women that's bad. It just depends on your situation, because you might have a good man or you might have a good woman that cheat on you, or probably just get lazy, or probably don't meet up to your goals and you get tired, or you get bored, or whatever the case may be, and something is missing, but maybe you don't talk about it. So I think the next thing that I'm looking for is communication, and communication to the point where it's not about sex. It's not about, okay, I ain't give him this on the first day or the first week or the first month. I might be better than this. I'm a lady. I ain't about that. Because if I'm going to take something from you, which is if I lay with you and I leave you, meaning to hit and quit, it don't matter how long it take. I did it, so I'm done. So you might feel like a good girl, but in reality, you was used from the jump. So I can't speak on if you good or if you bad. Just is you ready for the long term? What are your goals? And are you really meeting those every day? And from going forward, I need to watch it because it doesn't make sense in the short term. You kind of figure in these next couple weeks, they got to get together. Nah, they got to do different things every day. You need to watch them. That's relationship. Every day I need to talk to you, even if it's just a short conversation. Even if we both are busy, just a phone conversation. I mean,
So when you got into your relationship, we know he's single, but when you got into your relationship, did that put a strain on your relationship with the mother of your son? Like, did that kind of like intensify like things? Did she kind of?
No, not really, because I had been stopped dealing with her way before I got with the person I'm with now.
Okay.
So not really. It's just the fact that, you know, like when I got the custody order or whatever, he stayed with me during the week, and she's supposed to come get him every Friday. She's supposed to come pick him up every Friday. She wasn't doing that, so I wasn't going to keep taking him. Like when I get off work Friday, take him over there every Friday because in the court order says she's supposed to come get him every Friday when he get out of school. She wasn't abiding by that, so he just, you know, stopped going over until she started coming to get him.
Right.
But it's just a whole bunch of stuff that you got to deal with when you're in a relationship with somebody you really don't know about.
So when you got the court order, was she nasty?
Yes, very.
She lashed out?
Yes, very. I even had, one day when I came and got him from down his mother's house, I had to call the police because she wouldn't let him come outside. And I had to call the police, and I keep my court orders in my truck. I had to show them the court orders.
You had to show the police?
Yeah, I showed them, you know, because you know, they won't take her word for it, so
Right.
I made sure I had the papers in black and white that states what she's supposed to do and what I'm supposed to do. They told us, you gotta send him out here, man, so he can go with his father.
So have the two of you had conversations about his situation? Where perhaps you can kind of offer some insight to him? Because I suggested perhaps a counseling scenario, or even perhaps it's important to go ahead and get it on paper so that you don't have to deal with some of those stresses that you have. Like, would you suggest?
I think I told him I think that's the best way to go, you know, as far as the situation. So he won't have to worry about none of that, you know, his child's mother playing games, like, you know, so he wouldn't have to worry about none of that. Just go get a lawyer, get it in black and white so he can be done with it. Especially if they're not going to be together no more. I mean, they can still co-parent, but as far as her playing games with the kid, he don't need to go through that because he's a good dude, he's a good father. So I don't think he needed really need to go to the lawyer, get it in black and white so he can be done with it and just move on.
I have a nephew, and my youngest nephew actually has a 1-year-old, and he's had similar issues. Like, he and the girl that he was with dated back and forth, off and on. Every time you looked up, he was moving out. She wanted him to come back, and then here comes this baby. This is his first child. She has children. And it just became really, really tense between the two of them, to the point that she started using the baby to try to control him, because she knows that he wants to spend time with the baby.
Yeah.
And so she does everything in her power to make it difficult. She won't allow the baby to come spend the weekend, or it's like she picks and chooses when she wants to be bothered. But she always finds reason to argue with him, to fight with him about something, so that she can then punish him by not allowing him to spend time with the baby. She recently went to his job and tased him. And so I think that is where the turn is going to come, where it's going to start to work in his favor. Because right now, he's paying an absurd amount of child support, can't even see the kid, because she's deciding when, because there's no custody order in place yet. And so she went to his job and tased him. And so now I think with that, it's gonna probably work out in his favor. Kind of like what you were
Yeah.
saying before when
Yeah.
she changed his school
Mhm.
without any sort of good cause or reason. That was when it kind of turned in your favor.
Yeah.
I think that for you, I think you just kind of have to, if your intention is to do what's best for your daughter and to spend time with your daughter, it may be necessary to go ahead and get something in place. Because right now, you're exerting a lot of energy going back and forth with her, energy that you could be using for more productive stuff. Whether it's spending time with your daughter, whether it's building this legacy that you keep talking about, like you're expending energy fighting and arguing with her and trying to outthink her and think around these little obstacles that she's setting up. It's unfortunate that two people who had a kid together can't have a civilized conversation without arguing and bickering and getting to the point that you got to hang up the phone. It would seem that you should be able to have a conversation because the focus should be the baby.
Facts. That's facts. I mean, look, that's facts either way. But my biggest thing is, like you spoke earlier about people that get so tired that they give up, they don't want to be fathers, but I'm like the opposite. I'm not a court person. I mean, I understand that is the great way to go for my daughter and my son or whatever the case may be. I only have one child, just my child and my daughter. But, I mean, that's not for me. I gotta be like a weird, bizarre situation. But like I said, I've been supporting her. I've been doing all the foundations, everything.
I want to get to what you mean by this court thing is not for you, because the only thing is you would just be going to get visitation to have certain days and times outlined.
There's no way in the world you can like dictate how I can see my child. Unless that's the situation. If I get full.
So do you freely get to see her now?
Freely, yes.
So,
but
that seems a little iffy.
Iffy because I mean it depends on what type of mood she in. But lately, yes,
see, that's
because
what
I
I'm saying.
haven't been speaking to her.
Well, see that
The courses settle all that though.
exactly.
Yeah.
If she doesn't abide by that, then you get full custody of her, no
Right.
joint custody.
So like you don't have to deal with her temperament from one day to the next. Like it would be set in
I just want to
stone.
put my daughter through it. Everybody keep trying to talk about how I can see my child, but when she reaches a certain age, then you know at that point she can speak for herself. And if I gotta pay absurd amount, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna fight for her regardless. If that crosses me, then now I get my lawyer at the end of the day because I can prove these things. I can prove that. But to put her through something, if it's just all emotions, and I take that first step for joints or whatever the case may be, I'm putting her through something that's unnecessary because her mother still loves me or whatever the case may be. If I can just talk to her, I want to try it. You know, I don't want to just jump out there and just do this. Regardless if it hasn't been working, I still got some type of hope because I'm still not on it.
But you said you haven't talked to her in a few days.
I just seen her today. I just dropped my daughter off. I mean, but it's just more so the conversations of, hey, what you doing? Oh, she over here, she playing around, or what you doing? And not them conversations, like the day-by-day updates. That's something I gotta miss out on, but when I get her, I have her. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense to a lot of people, but right now, to me, is the best option because I still gotta move forward, and right now, it's a distraction going back and forth, and I understand, of course, but that's more of a distraction, that's pressure, or not really knowing what I'm gonna get out of that. I can't handle that right now because I'm trying to build, you know, I'm still young.
But I think the question for me is, how do you build if there's so many roadblocks? If she's creating so many roadblocks, so many unnecessary roadblocks.
Because they're not there right now. That's why I can't do the court thing right now.
What's not there?
Like, that's not there. Like, the roadblock is not there. Like I told you, I fought for the summer. I got the summer. We doing every other week, right?
You fought her for the summer?
Yeah,
Okay.
fought for the summer. Just going back and forth and mediating things regardless if it was slanted on her end or my end. It got solved and it seemed like the okay thing to do, right? It's like, okay, why can't she be with her father? We taking trips for weeks and then whatever she doing on that end, that's what she doing and that's for that. But my biggest thing going forward is the foundation. How can I do it? Because I got to keep my mind focused. The same way we were supposed to move in this house together, and that didn't happen, and I still stayed above float, and I still built it, I furnished it, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm doing. But how can I keep doing that? With the same thing I've been doing since I've been trying to build this house. With my daughter in mind, I got to stay focused on providing her future. So if court jump in my lap, then that's something I would have to deal with.
So just to put this in context for people that are listening, how old are you and how old is the mother?
I'm 24, she's 22, or 23.
And how old are you?
She's
and how old
23.
is-
I'm 41, and I think she's like 30, 36, 37.
Okay. So let me ask this. Do you have personal experience with other guys that have kids who aren't present in the lives of their children,
Facts.
specifically because the women have made it so difficult? Not because they don't want to be there, but because the women have made it so difficult that they just throw in the towel because they just don't want to fight anymore. And so then the penalty is, or the consequence is, the kid suffers. Do you have people like that you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. like I know people even to the point that you can go all the way to jail or you can come all the way just person come home from college. I know a lot of people that is in that position because a lot of people take time to think and their thoughts, they become subjective to themselves and they kind of feel like I got the child's best interest. And you really can't say that, but they are. So a lot of men feel like they're not good enough. Like they can't speak back to those baby moms or baby mothers or daughters or sons' mothers, whatever, however you want to put it. I think they're going through things because they don't really speak on it. Man, it is what it is. It's just stuck, man. This is what's going on.
But would you say that there are some men who don't fight because they already know that the system is going to lean in the favor of the women?
Some of them are like that.
Yeah. I don't think that they know. I just think they feel that. It's because of how it works. And, you got media influence everything of how it works. Like, you're losing in the criminal system. They say that this person to catch this amount of charges for this amount of years and this person to do this for this amount of years. In your mind, this is what's going to happen. So you don't want to fight it. So it's like, man, look, she already went down there, put me on child support. I don't even care, man. How much is it? I don't know, man. It's like $2,000, whatever the case may be. This is whatever. And I think they kind of get caught up. Since she did it first, you can't do it at all. But the court system is made to be balanced. So if she challenges you, you challenge her. You present your side. Were you prepared for this? Were you not? It's more so them not giving themselves a chance because they feel like once it's given to them, then that's just it. I'm about to be on child support anyway. I don't care. I mean, she gonna get what she gonna get a month, and that's it. I ain't paying for nothing else. No, I see him on the weekends. In reality, you're not doing it for your child, and you need to balance a certain amount of money. If that's the route that you're gonna take, you need to balance that out until they realize, like, I don't know, man. I'm fresh, but the way I play things, the way I am as a man, I'm not just going for anything. And if you really want to take a route that's not really your route, then I'm going to fight for mine. But me going first, I just don't feel like I'm in that position to do so because she is a good mom. And I don't.
Well, I think
feel that.
I think the words "good mom" are subjective because
It is subjective.
Because
Facts.
if what I'm hearing you say is you experience challenges
Facts.
at times trying to see your child, so a good mom wouldn't
let me
use
do
a
that.
kid as a puppet, wouldn't use a kid to dangle back and forth in your face.
And that goes back to good mom being subjective. Me saying good mom would be me saying she's good for my child.
Right.
Not about she's good for me or she's good around the world.
But I think
with
what's
her.
good for the child is to be able to share in the responsibility of taking care of the kid, but also giving that kid the opportunity to see you and
Right.
to see her. I think that's what a good mom does.
In that perspective, you are right. Yes, you are. Yes, you are right. But like once again, I'm always thinking about my daughter. I never think about myself. I mean, I think that's like a lot of frustration that comes out because I just want the good for my child. And
Because I just think about, you often hear the side of the story, the women's side of the story where, they're doing everything, the father isn't there, they got to call them, they have to go drop the kid off to the father. But this is just the side of the story.
Vice versa.
Yeah, this is the side of the story that we don't get to hear often. What can happen, and I think that in this particular scenario, the women aren't necessarily thinking forward. what can happen is the child will then resent the mom because it always usually comes out in the wash. Like, they'll learn that you were there trying to make the effort. One of two things can happen. They'll learn that you were there trying to make the effort, trying to spend time, and they'll learn that she was the reason that you didn't have the quality of relationship and time that you could have had. But then on the other side of it, the kid resents you because then they feel, because some of these fathers, they get tired, they get exhausted, they get tired of fighting, and they just leave it alone, and then they go and start a family with another woman and have kids. And then the child that they had first ends up resenting them because they feel like they left them and they didn't fight enough for them. So it really is about trying to get things in place, just try to get some sort of an understanding so that you're not just fighting just to spend time, just to be able to see your kid. Because that's what's happening with my nephew. Like, he goes through that. Just because she's angry with him because the relationship dissolved or she's still heartbroken. And I don't even know who ended the relationship. But the point is, she's basically using this kid to punish him, to make him feel whatever it is that she's feeling about their relationship. And she's doing a pretty good job at it.
Speaking like that's exactly like what I'm going through. Like, when you use a child as a pawn, it's kind of hard to figure out the rest. Meaning that you can't dictate how your relationship went or how that man going to be a father or how that woman going to be a mother. You kind of just got to see facts and see what they're doing. If they're really trying their hardest, why not? I don't care what their situation is. They can be broke and homeless, but I just want to be a father from time to time. I know I don't have much, but let me do this. But that's never the case. Like, a lot of women like to chase behind people that don't want to be there and put the kids on them. Like, oh, I'm going to just bring her over there then. No, don't bring her over here, or don't bring him over here, man. I got stuff I got to do. In reality, people like us, they really be like, oh, bring him over here. It's like, well, how else can I get him? That's like a chess game. It's like a checkers game. I'm about to jump one. In reality, just let them be fathers and see how that works for your child. Is your child happy?
I always feel for the women that want guys like you, that want guys that are going to participate
Me too.
in their lives. Because there are women that would love to have a man, even if they're not together, a man that's participating, that's actively trying to spend time. And I think that these women are taking that for granted.
Facts.
Taking that for granted. So what are your final thoughts or feelings about this whole thing? If you could speak to her, what would you say?
Mine is just quite simple. Like, my craft is me being a father. That's what I take care of daily. That's the only thing I really have. Outside of my career, me graduating school and everything, outside of my family, I only have one daughter, one child. I just want to be a dad, to be there and just give me the opportunity to do that. I don't want to interrupt what you have going on, or if that was a scenario as far as me interrupting whatever you're doing, like financially, whatever, if I was that case, which I'm not. I just want to be a father. That's it.
So what's your relationship like with your son's mother? I know that you have complete custody, but are you on better terms now?
I really don't talk to her. Only time I talk to her is when I call her phone to let her know that I'm coming to get my son. Or that's it. I really don't have a relationship with her.
The reason I ask that question is because you teach your kids through your behavior and your interaction with each other how to be in relationship with other people. So the things that you're not even speaking, the things that you're not actually verbally teaching them, you're modeling for them. So your inability, and when I say your, I don't mean just you, I mean you and she, you and her, inability to communicate on the basis of how to spend time with the baby, she's learning that. She learns that. And then she undoubtedly will take that behavior and that into her relationships. Same thing with you. Your son is 16?
Yes.
So trust and believe me, he recognizes that the two of you don't talk. He knows that the two of you never speak on the phone. You know what I'm saying? So even when he was living with her, if she said, call your dad, he may not be able to language that and say what that means or what that looks like, but trust me, he is aware that the two of you never had communication. That she always put him directly to talk to you, or you put him directly to talk to her. That there's never anything where there's a line of communication between the two of you. And so you have to think about that going forward, especially with you not wanting to do this whole court thing and da-da-da. Like, you just want it to be as seamless as possible.
Facts. Facts. But
I think the court way is the best way to go.
I believe you, but
Less stress on you, less stress on her.
I think you're thinking that it's going to be so stressful and you just rather not deal with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not though. It's not.
I mean,
it worked better.
I think you see it as another level of stress. It's going to create more stress.
my thing is, why is it that me as a father gotta be the second class trying to fight for all your rights and figure out how I can figure out my way into my child life? Why is it that she gotta dictate it, and why can't we just agree on something? I'd just rather sit out the White House like this
It
with
would
my
be-
arms up trying to go, man, I don't
The system
understand
is
it.
not designed for us. It's designed for them.
Well, guess what? They gonna figure out something, because my daughter get older and she'll see it, whoever.
But the reality is this.
No reality.
It could be that simple had you chosen a partner that was emotionally mature, so that even
What
if
you
the
thought.
exactly, so even if the two of you didn't stay together, you would still be able to function.
But what you thought is not the same as what you get from the beginning. It's
do you-
never that.
but wait,
it's
but-
never
but
that.
wait,
Because
but
it wouldn't end up in that situation.
But wait a minute, how long after y'all got together did you?
That's something different.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
That's something different.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that was kind of
That's
too soon for you to
See-
know that. You were still in the representative phase. The real person hadn't shown up.
Facts.
Yeah.
But then the real person showed up still, but maybe then they got influenced by that, maybe. But
If
the
you
facts-
if you were in a if you had a relationship with a mature woman, I believe that and I'm saying that to both of you. I think the scenario, the outcome would have been different. I don't think she would have used.
Nobody shows you their true colors in the beginning of a relationship, so you don't know how someone is.
Right.
no matter the time limit, nobody's gonna show you. No matter, it doesn't matter, because I didn't reach whatever I wanted. What if all I ever wanted out of a relationship was a child? As a man, I'm gonna play. That goes back to what I was saying about sex. If I ever wanted sex from you, I don't care. Oh, I'm waiting till I get married. What if I married you? You just feel like, hey, I ain't know she may work this long. I'm gonna take something, and then I'm a dip. I'm a divorcer. We
Yeah,
got
when
a
you get it,
prenup.
it's no good.
And I'm leaving regardless. You know what I mean? So this is my goal. So what if your intentions was to have a child, or what if your intentions was to not have a child? And that, like, these are things that you can't really, like, even though it's hypothetical, of course, but what if these are just facts?
But I think we're talking about fundamentals here.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is fundamentals. Fundamentally, at her core, had you given yourself the time, and this is not a judgment, because I've made relationship choices too. When I look back, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking about? But I also understand that I didn't give enough time to see a person's level of integrity, where their moral values are. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because a part of choosing a great partner, and I'm gonna give you this, a part of choosing
That's
a great
facts.
partner is choosing someone who makes good decisions for themselves. Because if they can make good decisions for themselves, they'll make good decisions for you, and they'll make good decisions for your relationship.
Facts.
So a part of it is choosing a person who makes good decisions.
I always keep a rebuttal. That's like my MO. I keep a rebuttal.
What's your rebuttal?
My rebuttal is, what about the people that's married for 15 years, 10
Yeah.
years or better, and they decide, I'm about to get a divorce.
Yeah.
What are you saying to them? Maybe what there's no such thing as a soulmate, or they're tired? Because you can't introduce mine as being too early, but what if they're too late? At 10, 15 years, what if you get married at 40?
Yeah, anything can happen. But
So-
no. Let me answer. Anything can happen. So the same outcome could have happened, like you're saying, in a month or two, you guys made that choice.
Correct.
Same thing could happen to somebody who spent 15 years together.
Correct.
Yes. But what I am saying is, I think that relationships come to an end. So there aren't any guarantees. Whether you are together for a month or 15 years, relationships come to an end. But you would hope that you spend enough time with a person where you kind of get a feel for who they are and the kind of choices they'll make, especially when you're talking about having a kid involved, because you want someone who can see through their pain of this breakup. Yeah, you broke up, but you see through the pain because I love this child enough that I still want the best for this child. And I know that he's a good father. So although I'm angry with him, I'm upset that this relationship is no longer, I want the best for my kid.
Facts.
So again, it's about an integrity thing. A person's integrity.
That's a tough word. That and loyalty.
Yeah.
You gotta be loyal to what you say. Me, I stayed. I did everything I was supposed to. And you just get tired in the end. And I ended up getting my sisters involved because they was my ear. And they just get tired of hearing it. I just don't understand, you know?
Of course they're going to get tired of hearing it. And that's why I said another option is for you and the mom to speak to a mediator.
Yeah.
So that you can at least, not about getting back together, but to speak so that you can get the tools and figure out how to communicate effectively so that the two of you collectively can make the best choices for your kid.
That's facts.
Because you may need somebody to help you make mature choices. Because you already said you're ahead of her in terms of maturity. Usually women are a little further ahead, but in this case, you're ahead of her. And so sometimes you may need some help.
I just don't I don't really like nobody in between me and my child. I don't really care who you are. I mean, that's all. I mean, it's just hard because I just really just want to I know it's not that easy. I really do. Mm-hmm. But I mean, maybe I got to go through something. But just looking at my daughter, watching her grow, watching her walk, watching her talk, just that's enough for me. Just to be like, all right, she always going to love me. So one day I'll be able to have that. Maybe I need to force it. Maybe I need you to go ahead and do this and do that, get somebody to do this. Maybe. But what if that's just enough for me? And I do whatever just to make sure that's okay and not for her to do that. And then, like how you said, she might have to resent somebody. But that somebody ain't going to be me.
This is definitely going to grow you
exponentially.
Just as I mentioned about my nephew, it's going to grow him because I saw this coming. One of my cousins saw it coming, and she tried to explain to him, this is bad news. You definitely don't want to stay in this, and you definitely want to make sure you're using protection because you definitely don't want to bring a child in this. And what did he go and do? He went and had a kid with this girl, and now he's suffering because of it. And I'm not saying that you regret having your kid.
It's just the person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so now he's suffering, stressed out all of the time. But, you can't give a person their lessons. So it doesn't matter how many times I said it to him. Didn't matter how many times my cousin said it to him. You have to get your own lessons. And so even if he's telling you the best thing to do, from my experience, is to, because I've already walked this road, so the best thing for you to do is to go to the court and let them handle it. But some people have to get hit upside the head with a brick to know that it hurts.
That's me.
And you might need to get hit upside the head with a brick to know that shit
I used to always have my head. I was pushed at the steps as a kid.
Right.
That's the joke.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. This has been So Much to Say. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you can listen to a podcast. Follow me on social media. It's Craig the Writer Stewart on Instagram, Facebook, and my website is www.craigthewriterstewart.com.